Have you ever received a text bombarding you with unclaimed tax refund or seen a viral TikTok promising that brand new secret tax credit? These could be traps. Now in 2025, again, the IRS just dropped its dirty dozen list and it's more shocking than ever. So stick around, we'll show you how scammers are trying to play you and what you can do to avoid those schemes and fight back. I'm Anthony Price, I'm a CPA at Price the CPA. I work with hundreds of clients to help them get the best tax results, avoid tax issues, save money, have zero stress when it comes to their tax issues. Okay, so we've broken this down into 4 key pillars to help you recognize and avoid tax schemes and fraud in 2025. First, let's talk about identity fraud. This one's kind of for the boomers because they often have more trouble recognizing phishing schemes, right? These identity fraud schemes, the foundation of scamming, like stealing your info to either claim a refund in your name or even drain your accounts, right? There's the phishing where you get the fake IRS emails or texts or calls that say you're owed money or you owe now, right? They include links to malicious sites. They might ask you for your personal information. Please never click. The IRS will never email or text you first, okay? Same with the fake IRS accounts. Like scammers pretend to help you set up your IRS login, but what they really want is your social security number and financial access. So here's the tip. Only create your IRS accounts directly on the irs.gov website and ignore any unsolicited setup offers. Do not respond to any emails that claim to be they're the IRS or any text claiming that they're the IRS. Those are all BS. So second is the social media tax hacks. TikTok and Instagram are loaded with viral tax advice that sounds genius until you're audited. This is advice like claim self-employment fuel credits or these refund boosting tricks. They're often fake and claiming them can lead to frozen refunds or worse. Now, Grant Cardone, Chris Crone, most make money online, or you're a puny weakling type person that isn't an actual tax professional, often gives the opposite of good tax advice. Like seriously, even people with tax certifications that aren't in the trenches of preparation and reading tax court cases, they frequently miss on their tax content, right? Other tax pros love to be the actually meme in the comments. They're gonna try and correct that advice, but too few people go and read those comments and realize the advice that they saw and think are legit is complete BS. So the tip here is to always cross-check with a tax pro and work with somebody that is deep in the trenches and willing to sign your tax returns. That is crucial. So third is the tax scheme promoters. Now these are experts who profit by selling shady or exaggerated tax strategies that sound legal, sound so amazing. The elites don't want you to know this because they sound so great until they're not, right? OIC promoters, they charge these huge fees for offering compromise even if you don't qualify. Like this is legitimately information that you can get for free on the irs.gov website. And unfortunately, early on in my career, I didn't realize that this was even a thing. And so I one time had a client that was deep in tax debt with the IRS. I didn't really know anything about resolution for their taxes because they simply didn't have enough free cash flow at the end of the month to pay off this tax debt. Unfortunately, I tried to go find some tax resolution companies and I got the client on the phone with them and they legitimately pressured them to send them like $3,500 right now and we're gonna help you apply for this offer in compromise. Well, guess what? They didn't qualify for the offer in compromise. They made too much money, right? As much as they were spending too much money too, and as much as they, didn't have the cash available to pay off the debt, they also didn't qualify for an OIC. It's actually rather difficult to get an OIC, but these OIC mills were promising and acting like they were gonna easily get one. Oh, all you gotta do is pay me $3,500. Reality should not be a $3,500 engagement, and they didn't get the OIC, and it was a complete waste of money. Similar with these entity schemes, these promoters are pushing offshore entities or trusts to eliminate your taxes, but these often violate tax law. Unfortunately, you can't just put money into an offshore entity and the IRS will never see it again. They won't know about it. Trusts don't magically eliminate all your taxes. Just not how it works. The Rothschilds do not do this and just completely ignore tax law. Some person that doesn't have a tax law degree or a CPA that's been filing these things for decades, you're getting this tax information from somebody that legitimately has no real tax experience. And even people, unfortunately, that do have tax experience, like it's convincing sometimes. Like there's been times where I've been very close to being convinced of serious entities that I thought, oh, you know what, maybe this does make sense in order for it to save taxes. But then you read in the tax court cases and you think a lot deeper into it. Sometimes it takes 5-10 years of experience to be able to pick apart the logical fallacies and the incorrect weaknesses of these tax strategies. And so it's totally understandable that they sound great and you want them to be true, but unfortunately, essentially all of them are not true. Another issue is in these ghost preparers. They prepare your taxes, but they never sign your tax returns as a preparer and try not to leave a trail. They might add faulty deductions to get you a bigger refund, but they don't want to take responsibility because they know these deductions are on faulty ground. So if you get audited, your refund disappears, you have major penalties, and you're left liable. Anybody that's selling you tax strategies better be ready to sign the return, right? So the tip here is if a promoter promises huge refunds or secrecy, run. Transparency is your safety. The fourth category is in abused tax opportunities. This is the area, some of these credits are legitimately real, but scammers misuse them and find people that don't actually qualify and act like they qualify for them to profit, and you could get caught in the fallout. Let's talk about PPP fraud. This is one I have an intimate story with. I was helping legitimate self-employed people get these PPP loans. I wasn't taking any profit myself from it. I was doing it for my CPA firm, just recognizing that this is legit free money from the government. And so I went to my aunt who has a Schedule C and helped her get free money from the government because it was allowed, right? This PPP thing was real. And my friends getting so much money back for PPP, legitimate qualifiers. But then I heard from another friend that he said, hey, I got this PPP loan. I got $21,000. I go, oh, you qualify? Like, what's your Schedule C? He goes, oh, what do you mean Schedule C? I'm like, well, what's your business that allows you to qualify? I don't know what you're talking about. Like, my pastor just told me that I qualify, that I get $21,000, and all I had to do is pay him $8,000 for it. Schedule C, he didn't even qualify. They were literally making up fake fraudulent returns, and this pastor, sadly, was charging $8,000. Complete scam. And it's honestly really makes me sad because these are legitimate credits. These are legitimate grants by the government. Same with the ERC. If you legitimately qualify, if you actually got hurt by ERC, people were getting millions of dollars from this ERC, but also some people were faking your eligibility and charging you 20% of this credit that they were fraudulently filing on your behalf. You gotta be careful about legitimately qualifying. There's also that self-employed tax credit. That's not even a thing, right? They're just giving it the incorrect name to point to something like the paid sick and family leave credit, which is where you're able to take credit for time where you were sick under COVID or had employees that were sick under COVID and you still paid them. Again, that's legitimate, but a lot of people are BSing that and it's not legitimate when you take it, right? So if you're not 100% sure you qualify, you gotta check. Misuse can lead to frozen refunds, penalties, or even criminal charges in egregious cases, okay? So in closing, you gotta protect yourself. Stay calm. These scammers thrive on urgency. Just pause and double check before you give any information or take any tax positions or sign your own tax returns. Just validate everything. Only use the irs.gov website and licensed tax pros. It's worth paying a few $100s to another CPA for confirmation of a tax strategy that's gonna save you or cost you tens of thousands of dollars or more. Remember the red flags: demands for gift cards, for payment, promises of huge refunds, fake IRS accounts, unsigned tax returns, too good to be true tax schemes, and especially non-tax professionals selling you on tax advice, whether that's on social media, over the phone, wherever it is. Non-tax professionals should not be giving tax advice because it's often wrong. Tax is a very deep subject and it's really easy to get things wrong because it's so circumstantial. So if any of this sounded familiar, pause. That refund might not be legit, unfortunately. Like this video if it helped you stay safe, subscribe for more smart tips, and let me know in the comments if you've seen any of these scam attempts. I've seen directly all of these scams before and I want people to avoid them. I want you to know too that coming forth and disclosing the scams if you are caught up in them is how you avoid serious penalty for being involved. Trying to conceal and misrepresent is how you face serious trouble, not for legitimately believing in the advice of a professional and just getting it wrong while trying to genuinely get it right. The IRS recognizes that it's difficult out here, and if you just disclose and move on, don't do it again, you can overcome these issues. Thanks for watching.